Should artists write songs about depression? If so, how should they go about it? Do these artists run the risk of normalizing depression and suicidality? Or is it truly a therapeutic outlet for the artist and the community as well? So in this video, we're going to discuss this heavy topic.
Indeed.
And also analyze two artists in particular and their respective approaches to mental health and art. We are the Creative Criticals. My name is Luke.
I'm Corey.
And let's get this podcast started.
Let's do it, man. First of all, I just want to say that I'm super excited that this is episode number 1. What a way to do it, man.
Episode number 1, we're going to start off talking about depression.
Yeah, we're going to start off talking about depression and how artists handle it. And when you really think about it, I mean, over the grand span of music, I guess, especially in the past few decades, this topic has become one that has been more and more talked about. I think mental health awareness is something that is being brought to the forefront of everybody's minds. I think COVID did a lot for everybody as far as bringing that up. But I think it also did something dangerous. In some respects, I would say that suicide talk, things about like heavy depression and stuff like that, has become almost, how can I say this without hurting feelings, glorified to an extent, to where like some artists have made it their entire fan base. And if it wasn't for that content in their music, they wouldn't have any music at all. And so it's really interesting to discuss and to talk about. So I'm excited to get into it.
Yeah, so the way I want to go about this is to look at the impact of two in particular artists who deal with mental health, and I think they do a good job of dealing with mental health in their music. First off is Linkin Park, and secondly is Tyler Joseph of 21 Pilots.
Okay.
The reason why I've thought about this more often in recent times, as you mentioned, mental health is such a needed discussion in our society right now. But I've always wondered if we do run the risk of making it almost the cool thing to have problems. Now, here's the thing. We are the most mentally ill generation that's ever,
at least the most recognized,
right? And I think that there are a lot of different things to think about going into this. One is, what is music supposed to be?
Man,
if music is an artistic expression of the artist, of like what they're going through, a portrait of their inner struggle, then you can actually track sort of depression in modern culture. Yeah. You can see that as society has become increasingly more technologically advanced, we've actually deteriorated mentally. And you can see that in the art that's expressed even by the early 2000s bands, the emo bands, and that kind of scene.
That's right.
Kind of see that stuff coming out.
That's right. Well, you even get with artists like NF, who he is an artist that is very open about his struggle with mental health, and it wasn't until recently that he's kind of gotten to this area. I mean, for years was in this like progression of walking through what it looks like to struggle with depression and anxiety and all these things, and then he gets to a point of his new album being Hope, and really being to a point to where he's not necessarily overcome them altogether, but he's in a better place. He has found hope. He is not depressed anymore. And I mean, that's really the first time that I've seen an artist actually do that. Yeah. And so, so for some, they would say that music is a therapy for them. Right. It's something that they go to, that they release everything that they've been holding on to in their music. And, you may see these people be really, really happy outside of their music, but inside their music, it's very dark and very heavy, because that's the only place that they feel comfortable going and releasing that. And so
I want to know what the impact is for the community who engages with the content. So, for instance, you guys can talk in the comment section under this video. I know, because I've already seen the comments on our 21 Pilots reaction videos. that the music of some of these artists has a profound impact on people who see themselves in the artist that they're watching.
Yeah.
And so we know that they're having an impact. And so one of the sad realities here, though, is that I saw this in a comment on a Linkin Park video of one kid talking about how it haunts him that he was never able to do for Chester what Chester was able to do for him.
Wow.
And how he's saying that, man, Chester's music actually got me through to a place where I'm actually okay. And to go back and look like because I have no access to him.
Man.
He plays a vital role in my life. I have no access to him, so I wasn't actually able to do anything to help him. And then he succumbs to his own depression.
Wow.
And then I believe that Tyler in Neon Gravestones, I actually think that he's speaking in reference to, he doesn't explicitly call out Chester or anything like that, but I do think that part of that verse that he's writing is about Chester.
Well, Neon Gravestones came out, not too long after.
A year after.
Yeah, so enough time for him to think that through. And, what a very heartfelt comment, One, this guy connected so much with Chester's music that it quite literally saved his life. And we don't know what that looks like.
Right.
It could have been drug addiction. It could have been he was actually suicidal and he felt comfort in the music. But to carry that weight as well, that he couldn't help Chester, maybe even Chester couldn't help himself.
Right.
That's a hard thing to carry. So
and not only that, like he has, his music has been influential in helping millions of people.
Yeah.
And you can almost feel a sense of weight on these folks because, man, if I could have been there to help him, and here's the thing: Chester did know the impact that he had, and he did know
that's right
what he meant to those people. That's got to be a wild weight for him to be carrying.
Man,
the fact that his music has actually had a positive impact on the world and on the people that look up to him. I can't imagine the amount of darkness he must have actually been facing.
Man.
To go through with it, in spite of the fact of the impact that he had made.
Yeah.
So that's why I can't understand, because I'm not in his head. I can't understand the.
Yeah, I think the danger that we do as a society too is one of those coping things that we do when we're talking to people is we'll be like, "Hey, I understand."
Yeah.
It's well, sometimes you don't,
no.
and that's okay. You have to be okay with the fact that you don't understand everything.
Right.
And in Chester's case, man, I am afraid that we as a society, and you and I were talking about this the other day a little bit, I'm afraid that we as a society have begun to make heroes out of people who can't carry that kind of weight because they were never built to.
Right.
And sometimes they don't even want to be in that position, but they are heralded as that because you have people like this who Chester's music, though that may have been just an area for him to release, an area for him to go to, it became a life-saving thing for somebody else, and then all this pressure comes down on him. It was man, I'm holding these people's lives in my hands. What do I do with this? Right, and so
I think at the end of this conversation, we're going to get into sort of from a Christian worldview. This video, don't worry if you're not a Christian or religious or anything like that. Feel free to watch the video. We're going to get to that towards the end.
That's right.
We're just going to give our perspective on this from the worldview that we hold. But what we want to do real quick, I want to actually react to a song. Now, how much Linkin Park did you ever listen to?
How much Linkin Park did I ever listen to? So I listened to Linkin Park heavily as a kid. I remember the combination album that they did with Jay-Z.
Oh yeah,
which is what got me into Linkin Park. So I'm a huge rap guy. I was never really into Jay-Z that much. I just
that collab was fire.
Oh my gosh, it was insane. It was absolutely nuts. And I remember hearing that and going, dang, who are these guys? Yeah. First of all, that Jay-Z at the time, the biggest artist or biggest rapper on the planet, would collaborate with this band. And then I go and look them up, and I'm like, bro, this cat can spit, man.
Oh, yeah,
you know what I mean? He can flow, and their music sounds good.
Yeah.
All the way around, even the rock parts and stuff like that. And I wasn't really into that kind of music, but it drew me in. And so I was very into Linkin Park. I've heard a lot of their music, and I would consider myself a fan for sure.
So I come at it from from the rock perspective, being a rocker myself, self plug. I like Chester Bennington basically changed the game of vocals in rock music. So all of my favorite metal bands that I listen to now have they do this sort of fry vocal scream / like scream singing kind of thing, which Chester was the king of that, like the scream singing. Like he could sing. Yeah, there we go. The top song right here. So this is a new song. Now they recorded it during the Meteora album.
Okay.
So this is Meteora era. It's a hidden track, or not a hidden track. It's just one they've had in the vault for all these years.
So these are actually Chester's vocals.
So
that
these
we're
are
about to
you're going to
listen
listen to. This is so crazy that they just released it several months ago.
Wow.
And it's crazy because you can actually hear Chester's vocals, which is just this is a song that was in the vault that they had. I cried when I listened to it because just you'll hear in the lyrics, you'll just kind of see what's going on here.
Man, it feels like it's going to be like a little haunting.
Yeah,
almost.
It is a little bit, but it's also just a fire song. It's one of their B-sides. Like it couldn't make the Meteor album because the Meteor album was so huge, and it sounds like it sounds like Numb, which is their so it sounds a lot like, or it's in the similar vibe of that song. So they chose Numb over this one, which if I'm making that decision between Numb and this song at that time, I'm putting Numb.
I mean, absolutely, Numb was a banger. So.
They made the right choice, but it's so cool to hear these songs. There's several of them that they've released, but
wow.
This one right here is the one that's got the most traction currently.
Man, all right. Well, I'm excited to hear it. Let's play it up.
Let's listen to it. We ready? Hope we got sound. Yeah.
It does kind of sound like Numb. Dude.
Yep.
Something I cannot repair, even though
I forget how beautiful his voice was, man.
Oh yeah.
I pretend it isn't there. I'm trapped in yesterday, where the pain is all I know.
Where the pain is all I know.
And I'll never break away, 'cause when I'm alone, I'm lost in these memories, living behind my own illusion, lost all my dignity.
Wow.
Yeah.
Lost in my own illusion, living inside my own confusion.
Yeah, man.
But I'm tired. I will always be afraid of the damage I've received, broken promises they made, and how blindly I believed. I will never break away.
So that's the line right there that gets me when he says, "I'll never break away." And it's like, man, this is 2004,
What, 2?
something. It's early 2000s.
Yeah. I
And
was a
it's
little
like-
kid.
And so like we consume this music and we hear his, raw, like, even on, you go listen to all of those old songs and every lyric you can see him like crying out for help, which they all knew it. This is helping everyone. But then like to go back and hear this now and him saying like, I'll never break away from this.
Man, and hindsight's always 20/20. We're listening to this retrospectively, right? Like he's already passed.
Right.
We're hearing this now. We're going, man, he was crying out for help this whole time. But in these lyrics could easily get lost in the music because this is a fire song.
Oh yeah,
And it's, gosh, man, it's terrifying.
If I didn't know the end of Chester, I didn't know like the tragic end, and I was just in high school,
Yeah.
with some like this new Linkin Park track, I'd be like, this is fire, man. I love this.
I would be I'd be in the
Right.
weight room pumping weights to this.
Uh-huh.
And he's sitting here talking about the fact that he can't escape his own mind, that he can't get out
Right.
of these feelings. He's trapped in this illusion and his confusion. And
Yeah.
gosh, dang it, man.
Yeah.
It's terrifying.
We're going to get deeper into it, so here we
Let's go. We still got, what, 3 minutes or a minute? Yeah, a minute left.
Yeah, a minute and a
All right,
half
let's
left.
see it.
I'm alone. I'm lost in these memories.
Dude, he has such a great voice.
No, dude, the power in that scream there.
It's beautiful. I wish you could see the hairs on my arms standing up right now.
That's how I experienced it the first time.
I try to keep this pain inside, but I will never be alright. I try to keep this pain inside, but I will never be alright.
Man.
Yeah.
Keep this pain inside, but I will never be alright. I try to keep this pain
That scream, man.
I will never be alright. I'm lost in these memories, living behind my own illusion. Lost all my days
Really makes you wonder what that illusion was, man.
Yeah, man.
inside my own confusion.
It's just such a great track too, man.
It
just,
is.
just as a song.
Yeah. Man.
But yeah, he the nostalgia attached to that sound, man, like hearing it for the first time, I was like transported back to listening to Linkin Park.
Yeah. I was transported to hearing that album for the first time.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, and it's just like, man, we never expected to hear a new song with Chester's vocals on
No,
it. Like
no.
low key, it was kind of dirty that they did it. They did us dirty.
yeah.
They brought it. I mean, I was so happy to hear it, but like,
It's been how many years? He died in 2016
2017.
or 2017. So
yeah,
5 years,
6.
6. Man.
Yeah, because it was June. It was June of 2017
Yeah, I was in my early 20s.
or July.
Yeah,
Might have been July. We might be coming up on
coming
6
up
years.
on the 6 years. Yeah, man, it's just so crazy to think about. One, that they had this in the vault for so long.
Yeah.
But two, that they released it at all, especially given the fact that kind of what it reveals about what he was feeling inside and what he's
Yeah.
going through. And think about this. This is 10 years prior to
Right.
anything taking place. So even 10 years prior, he's feeling this way.
Oh yeah, and
How
this
long?
is.
How long did he battle through that, man?
I mean, so the super fans would be able to know a little bit more of his story,
Right.
but I know that he went through this his entire career, his entire life. He was dealing. He lived a very troubled life growing up.
Man,
But he was an inspiration to those who followed him because he was really goofy, like just messing around off stage and stuff like that. People loved him because he had this goofy personality.
yeah,
And what's sad about that is that can be true for so many people. Like, how many times I've known someone and you find out that they have unfortunately like taken their own life and you're like, really, them?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
because they have such a good job of masking that around folks where you just think that's the most happy person I know. Like, of course they've had their troubles, but like
Yeah.
you wouldn't expect that.
Yeah. And you actually find like in a lot of comedians and stuff like that actually come out of horrible childhoods because the only way they ever found out how to cope was through humor, right? They knew if they could get themselves laughing and other people laughing, that they could get out of that mindset and get away from everything
Right.
like that, right? And so, I mean, for him to be like this in the studio, but then be this goofy guy
Yeah.
outside of the studio and outside of the concerts really makes you wonder how much of that was for his own sake,
Right.
for his own stability.
Yeah, so unfortunately we look at the tragedy of Chester, and I like to go back and listen to their music because, man, he just was. It's far enough at this point that it doesn't hurt to go back and listen as much, and so I go back and listen to their discography and just remember like this guy was an iconic figure in the rock scene.
Absolutely. And that's probably why they released it so much later, was to give everybody time to heal.
And it coincides with the 20th it's the 20th year anniversary of Meteora. So they released an edition of that album with these tracks. But there was a debate among the guys of whether they're going to release this stuff, and they're like, you know what, for the 20th anniversary, they weren't sure about it. Fans loved it. It was a great idea, because fans they were. And I saw a lot of fans saying that they couldn't realize before how much they actually needed to hear a new Linkin Park song, and so in some sense, like, it was I think maybe a little bit of a risk, because you might haunting,
right?
But also it paid off, because so many people saying, man, I needed to hear another song, again. So So there's that approach to mental health, but I want to talk about Tyler and his approach to this. Do you have any final thoughts on?
Yeah, let me offer just a few more on what I think about where Chester's coming from. Do I think that he handled it? All right, it's hard to use the words like correctly and stuff when it comes to mental health, because the last thing I want anybody to ever feel is like that a loved one or something that they had who took their life was.
Yeah.
You don't want to use words like wrong and stuff like that, but I don't know what Chester's life looked like. I don't know if he sought out counseling, if he sought out help. He was obviously crying out for it in his music. But something that I think is evident is that, he struggled enough alone to where he thought that he came to the conclusion that the only way to get over this is this final decision. And it's heartbreaking, man. It really is. And so to see the way that he handled it in his music, where he was able to beautifully craft these songs that sounded so good. Like we were just joking around about, I would be working out to the song, but the whole time he's crying out for help. Really makes you, just stop and think about even the people in your own life who might also be crying out for help, who are putting on this illusion. They're trapped behind this confusion, as Chester said there. But, they actually, I don't know, man. They're actually struggling the whole time.
So let's, before we move over to 21 Pilots, let's talk about kind of from a Christian point of view for a second.
Yeah.
So you were, and I want to put major disclaimers around even what you were just talking about. How it's hard to call somebody their decision incorrect.
Right.
But we take a Christian perspective here, and we think that, human life is sacred.
It is.
And you're made in the image of God. And so you have value intrinsically.
That's right.
Just being human, there is value in that.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we live with the effects of a fallen creation, a fallen world where things are just broken, and so we're going to experience trauma. We're going to experience, and just use a big theological word, crap. We're going to experience crap in this world, and so
that's right.
But and so we want to come from a perspective of saying that there is something objectively. There is objective reality.
Yeah.
And so objectively we could say it's wrong to take your life if human life is intrinsically valuable and made in the image of God.
Right. Well, and that's why we would say that we hold murder to such a high, astute, as to say that to take another person's life is that big of a deal. Yeah. Now, one thing that I think has been handled incorrectly from a quote Christian worldview is this understanding that this is like automatic damnation.
Right.
If you decide to do this, I don't think that's
bad theology.
Yeah, I don't think that's supported anywhere in Scripture. If you want to hear it straight from a Christian perspective, the only thing that separates you eternally from God is not accepting Christ as your Lord and Savior. And so, to go out on a limb and say, well, this is the one thing that absolutely severs all ties or whatever, I think that's absolutely incorrect. And
so I was talking to you about this the other day. To take this in a little different direction, I believe that human beings, and whether you're a Christian or not, like, we crave hero narratives, hero stories. That's why superheroes are as popular as they are. That's why the hero's journey, the hero, narrative is so popular throughout all of storytelling. We crave that. And so from a Christian worldview, we believe that Jesus is the hero upon which all heroes derive, or from which all heroes derive. And so, our faith is built on a hero story.
Yeah.
And so I was telling you this, I think that we have this unfortunate reality of reading those comments of the people saying, like, I could never I don't have access to Chester, so I can't help him, but he saved my life.
Right.
No human being is created to carry the weight of being that hero.
Yeah.
And so here Chester is being the hero for millions of people, and I don't think a single human being can carry that weight, except for Jesus Christ, who carried that weight.
Yeah.
That's the Christian perspective on this, I believe.
No, I think you're absolutely right. And I think the dangerous thing that we do, kind of going back to what I was saying earlier, is when we put that heroic figure format on somebody else, all it does is create more pressure for them.
Right.
Because they're sitting there with all these lives in their hands. They're like, man, I've saved this many people. My music is literally carrying this many people's lives. If I don't make music anymore, are they going to lose the will to live?
Right.
If I don't perform at the same level anymore, are they going to give up?
Right.
I think that's something that I go back to NF because he's been so open. People are either here or there with NF, right? But I think because he's been so open with his journey, something that he struggled through was, man, if I don't make the same music that I've been making, what is going to come of my fans who are still walking through this? Am I going to serve as inspiration for them? Or are they going to see that they will never get to this point, and so they feel alone again because they're like, man, the one person that I had to relate to no longer feels this way and has overcome this. And I think when we begin to put that weight on people, we try to play that hero perspective and put that on artists and things like that. We really put too much pressure on those people.
Yeah.
And I think that's where, obviously we wouldn't believe in Christianity. We wouldn't believe in Christ if we didn't think that it was correct.
Right.
So this is where I think that Christianity is correct on this, because I would say that there is somebody who can carry that hero role, and he's already done it.
Right, he did.
Yeah, exactly.
And so, I just, not to say that we can't have heroes. I do have heroes, but, I have an ultimate hero. And so, I guess we'll close it out there. We're going to talk a little bit about Tyler Joseph now.
Let's do it.
And get into that conversation.
Let's do it. So Tyler Joseph is an interesting character for a lot of reasons. One, about a year ago, Luke pulled me to the side one day and he was like, hey, man, I want you to come react to this album that me and Chris are reacting to. And I was like, okay. And he's like, I think your perspective would be cool because you're a rapper and there's some rap stuff in here. And I was like, all right, what's the name of the band? And he's like, 21 Pilots. And I was like, oh, I don't really know anything about them. I've never listened to them. When I was in high school, it wasn't cool to be a 21 Pilots fan. Like in my circle, there were kids and stuff that were walking around with the hoodies on and stuff. I remember when Blurryface came out. I believe it was 2014. Yeah.
2015.
2015. So I was right out of high school, freshman in college, and I remember seeing people, like, oh, this is such a good album and stuff. And I was like, it wasn't cool in high school. I'm not going to listen to it now. So I remember when he asked me about that, I was like, okay, I'm going to go in here with a clear mind.
It was cool in high school. You just weren't hanging out with the right folks.
That's exactly what it was. Now I've found out that has to be the problem. If we weren't listening to 21 Pilots, we were the ones missing out. Yeah. And so I remember coming in here and you threw on the Trench album, and from the first song, I immediately fell in love with Tyler Joseph's mind.
Yeah, man.
The beautiful mind behind Tyler.
You got to see the mature expression of their discography. Like, you got to start off with in my opinion, the pinnacle of their discography. Now, the Vessel album is also a banger. Actually, all their stuff is good. So what we want to do, we want to react to some 21 Pilots here, huh?
Yeah.
So to tie this back in with our mental health discussion, Neon Gravestones is kind of the song that really addresses. Hey, look, there we are.
I know those guys.
I know those guys. Neon Gravestones is kind of the song that really addresses Tyler's perspective on mental health and music. So let's watch this. I haven't seen this music video.
Is there a music video?
I thought there might be. Not officially.
Oh, well, shoot. I thought there was a, man.
So you know what we're going to do? We're going to watch Addict with a Pen.
Let's do. All right, I'm cool with that.
Addict with a Pen it'll deal with this.
It's the same kind of thing? Okay.
Yeah. So.
Sorry, guys.
No worries.
I was like, man, I was really excited. Somebody had commented one time in our comments and said something about you can see Nico making Neon Gravestones in one of the music videos.
Oh, that's in Nico and the Niners. That must be what that is.
Okay.
When they're in the they're in that cult area and they've got the glowing lights. I think those are the Neon Gravestones.
Brother, I've never seen Nico and the Niners.
Yeah, we did.
Did we?
It's part of the Trench trilogy.
Oh, yeah. Whoops. Okay. No, I know what you're talking about now. Yeah, the glowing shards in the floor and stuff.
The glowing shards, yeah.
Okay. All right. So that's cool. So this is Addict with a Pen.
Addict with a Pen. All right. So talking about
walk me
Tyler.
through this, yeah.
Talking about Tyler Joseph and his approach to mental health. This is early on in their career. Okay, so this is literally you haven't seen this album cover yet, have you?
I don't even know what that is.
That is the first. This is a self-titled album that they did. Quality, not very good.
Shouty.
Yeah.
Okay.
Songwriting, excellent.
Okay, so this is a solo album from
yes,
Tyler.
this is recorded. So
wow,
this is recorded by him. Produced by him.
Wow.
He's been producing and recording his own music ever since he was a teenager in high school when he first got his little toy keyboard.
Man.
And what the cool thing about this is you have seen him perform now, so you know his skill level now. You're going to see raw emotion in this performance, and you'll see why people were so attracted to them even at this early stage, okay?
Man.
Quality-wise, this is nowhere near as good as they are now. But you could see the gem, like the diamond in the rough.
Do you mind if I pull? I'm gonna on my own computer here. I'm gonna pull up "Addict with a Pen" lyrics because I have to know. Like, you are hyping this up, bro. This better not suck.
Oh no! Lyrically, this is great. The song, I think the song is great. Performance is also. It's so emotional,
man.
The performance, but you'll be able to see what I'm talking about and how like through his career, he has just been working on his craft for decades now,
man,
a little over a decade now, and his live performances now, the dude is one of the most talented vocalists I've seen in person before.
Oh yeah, watching their live performances is absolutely mind-boggling. The way that they jump around the stage and everything.
So this will be interesting to see from. I think this is in 2011.
UG Studios.
Yeah, I think this is.
This says 11 years ago.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, 2011.
Wow.
All right. So 2011 is when this is.
Dude.
Wait, let me start this over because that's going to be a pain to edit.
You can always.
Breaking the fourth wall.
There you go. We're breaking the fourth wall. And we're not going to apologize for it.
All right.
All right, let's do this.
1, 2, 3.
I already like the piano.
Oh, yeah. This is before Josh had all his crazy makeup.
No, so Josh is there.
Yeah, that's Josh right there.
We haven't talked in quite some time.
Dude,
I know
this is different already.
I haven't been the best of sons. Hello, I'm traveling in the desert of my mind.
Who is he writing to?
And I
It'll become clear.
Okay.
Or I think clear.
Okay.
Of life, I haven't found a drop of of you.
Haven't found a drop of you.
I haven't found a drop. I
Man,
haven't found a drop. Of water.
nobody could have convinced me that drums would have made this better
Oh yeah.
until Josh hit those cymbals, man.
Such a good song, bro.
Dang, dude.
I tried desperately to run through the sand.
I wasn't ready for that.
I hold the water in the palm of my hand.
Man.
It's all that I have and it's all that I need. And the waves of the water mean nothing to me. But I try my best and all that I can to hold tightly onto what's left in my
Dude, this is a
hand.
this is a banger.
Oh, yeah.
This is heavy, but it's a banger.
Oh, yeah.
And the water will drain. It's being dramatic. In fact, I'm only at it again as an addict with a pen who's addicted to the wind as it blows me back and forth, mindless, and pretend. Of course, I'll be here again. See you tomorrow, but it's the end of today, end of my ways as a walking denial. My trial was filed as a crazy suicidal head case, but you specialize in dying. You hear me screaming, Father,
Oh.
and I'm lying here just crying. So wash me with your water.
Bro, no way.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Is he writing to who I think he's writing to?
I believe so. It makes a lot of sense if you go back through all the lyrics here.
Yeah, let me hear the rest of this. Like how he carries the rest of... Dang, dude.
Yeah.
He is so gifted, bro.
Yeah, man.
We haven't talked in quite some
I forgot about this, man.
time. I know
This is getting
I haven't
added to
been
the-
best.
to the... I can't even talk right now. I don't even...
No, I'm in trouble and it's
Gosh dang.
just off my mind.
This is why the fan base is so passionate about
Haven't found
these guys.
a drop
Gosh, man.
Yeah.
of life. I haven't found a drop of you. I haven't found a drop.
Yes. You hear how raw that
I
was,
know,
bro?
it's
Gosh.
So emotional.
Oh my goodness, man. I'm absolutely floored right now.
Yeah, man.
Dude.
Of water.
Why does everything he touches turn to gold? You
Yeah,
know what I
man.
mean? Gosh.
Platinum.
Yeah, platinum, sorry.
Right.
Dadgummit, man. Diamond even, you know?
I love it, man.
I don't think you could have gotten a better duo of talent.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I mean,
And this their friendship, man, like I forgot about how good that song. So to me, this song is just an open letter to God. You know, you start off at the beginning here. Hello, we haven't talked in quite some time. I know I haven't been the best of sons. I've been traveling in the desert of my mind, and I haven't found a drop of life. So, like, if you stop and think about where he's going with that, and been traveling in the desert of my mind and haven't found a drop of life, basically he's saying he's coming back to God here, being like, "Hey, we haven't talked in some time, and I haven't been able to find life in myself. I haven't been able to find water in the desert in my mind. Like, I haven't been able to get it. And so I'm here talking to you. I'm at my, all I am is an addict with a pen, and like I'm here to talk with you, basically.
man.
So to me, that's what this is. It's an open letter to God.
There's only one real way that he can communicate with him outside of, prayer traditionally, and that's through
Right through his pen.
his pen. Yeah. And so, because if it's not God, it's really it can only be two other people, right? If he's talking about, I haven't been that great of a son, he's either writing to God, his mom, or his dad. Right. I'm sure somebody's made a case for the other two, but...
Well, here at the end he goes, but you specialize in Diane, you hear me screaming, Father.
Yeah.
No, I hear just crying, just to wash me with your water. I mean, it could be him talking to his earthly parents, but I really do get the sense here that he's talking to God. Especially just knowing him and knowing the context that they come from, knowing that he is a person of faith. Right. I love this lyric here where he says, I'm just being dramatic. In fact, I'm only at it again as an addict with a pen who's addicted to the wind as it blows me back and forth. Mindless. That's such a good...
Dude, yeah.
Mindless, spineless, and pretend. Good stuff, man. End of my ways is a walking denial. My trial was filed as a crazy suicidal head case. It's just, you can tell with Tyler, he was a poet.
Yeah.
And so he used... And obviously, I think he was a literature major, I think, in college, even though they didn't finish college. But because do you know the story of the band name?
No, I don't.
So he was in college studying the play by Arthur Miller. Do you know The Crucible?
I've heard of The Crucible.
So we read that in high school. That's a play by Arthur Miller. It's kind of what he's known for. There's a lesser known play that Arthur Miller wrote called I think it's called All My Sons. Okay. Basic premise of the play is that there is a plane manufacturer, or basically he works for a plane manufacturer, and he has to write off and inspect the parts for these planes. And he has to sign off on whether or not these planes are ready to hit, basically ready to hit the market. Right. Ready for the military to use them. And there's a war that's going on. And this inspector has an opportunity for his own profit, to cut corners. And he goes ahead and he, because he needs the profit, he cuts the corners on inspecting these plane parts. And I'm nutshelling this completely. Yeah. And cuts these corners, writes it off, says they're okay, and sends these planes out for the war. Well, the parts were defective, and because of it, 21 pilots die. Oh. And so Tyler was so captured by this play, that he crafts a band name around it, saying, it's kind of a story of, are you gonna take that way out, take the easy way out? Here's the consequence of doing that. Wow. The death of 21 pilots. And
it's beautiful.
So that's where that story actually comes from, that play by Arthur Miller.
Man.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, okay. And while you were talking about that, him being a literature major and stuff like that, we're going full circle here on something that we talked about a couple months ago with the letters by his bedside. I think that was a Migraine. Yeah. Where he talks about that. It could be suicide notes. It could also be poems that he's written to express himself in, right? Right. And if he is the addict with a pen, and his only other way to talk to his father is through his music or his poetry, then could the letters by his bedside be...
Letters by his bed could be songs that he's writing.
Or the poems are... man, gosh, darn it. Yeah. Why is everything that these guys do so incredible?
The thing about it, there is so much meaning packed into each line that he writes. Yeah. And so, staying on the mental health topic, there's another song that we ought to react to, but we'll probably save it for another session. It's called Car Radio. And you've absolutely got to hear Car Radio. It's part of the essential 21 Pilots. Like, you have to. I'm actually embarrassed that you're this far into the 21
Pilots.
Dial
it up. Yeah, dial it up. Sorry, so we're going to do this right now.
And there is there's a song called Kitchen Sink that's also it's going all the way back here to the early days. And it's among the fans. Kitchen Sink. They I don't even think they play it live anymore. Man. But Kitchen Sink is a song that means a lot to the and we'll have to get to that.
Absolutely.
I'm not gonna ruin it, but Car Radio is definitely essential. They still do this at every show that I've ever seen.
Really?
They have to. You might have actually heard this, so I doubt. Well, you didn't hear. If you didn't know Stressed Out,
First of all, bro,
But-
hold on. First of all, we're not gonna sit here and do this, okay? All right, because I've already had 1.5 thousand people be confused that I never heard that song before. One guy was like, "No way, bro, I don't believe that," and I'm sitting here like, "No, I have not heard it." Let me tell you this though: since I heard that song, I've heard it probably 7 or 8 times, just like in stores and stuff.
Dude, it's a popular song.
Well, now I'm conscious of it, and up until then, God forbid, it was background music to me. I
Right.
never let that, soak into my life, and now I know it, and I'm like, man, this is a fire song. So
yeah, there's that. So car radio, you might have heard part of this, maybe not, but either way, you need to know it as a 21 Pilots fan.
okay,
So,
I feel like you're blessing me tonight.
yes,
this is awesome.
This is great. I haven't listened to these guys in a while, so I'm being blessed myself.
So car radio.
Car radio.
All right, let's do it.
I ponder of something great.
Whoa.
My lungs will fill and then deflate. They fill with fire, exhale desire. I know it's dire, my time today.
This is early, isn't
I
it?
have these thoughts so
Fessel,
often I ought to
2014.
replace
Okay,
that slot
okay.
with what I once bought. Cause somebody stole my car radio and now I just sit in silence.
Whoa.
Sometimes quiet is violent. I find it hard to hide it. My pride is no longer inside.
Pause
It's
it.
on my sleeve, my skin will scream.
He's not talking about a real car radio, is he?
Yes, it is.
He is talking about a real car radio?
Yeah.
That's not symbolic for anything?
So
All right, listen, I'm trying.
no. Okay. So yes, there is meaning behind this, but the story goes somebody literally stole his car radio out
Like
of
this
his car.
actually
Yeah,
happened?
someone busted into his car and stole his car radio.
Dang!
And he hated having to drive in silence, and so he wrote this song.
Gosh, man. Well,
So it's funny though, because it's based on true events, but there is a metaphor going on here. So, but I don't know where you were gonna go with the. metaphorical
I'm
meaning.
like, oh, somebody stole his car radio. Somebody stole his peace of mind. And we're like all over the place here. I'm like really, because I'm digging deep into these lyrics right now, and I don't want to do that if it doesn't require that.
So there is a meaning not in the car radio itself, but in the effect of not having the car or the car radio.
Okay.
So he's going
All
to get
right.
into the fact of like what goes on in his mental state when he doesn't have something to distract him.
Ooh.
So the idea of you can't drive alone without having music playing.
That's
like,
right.
Your thoughts are violent if you don't have something to distract you.
Man.
So that's what he's actually getting at here.
All right.
It's funny. There's a video I watched of them live when they were playing this song live, and someone in the audience brought a car radio and was holding it up, and he's like, "Is that an actual car radio?" It's like, "Yeah, give it."
That's
He's like,
hilarious.
"We brought it for you so you could have a car radio."
This is fantastic.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go back. I'm glad that we cleared that up because like this whole time I would have been like, ooh, but
No, that's
okay.
based on a real story.
This is fantastic.
All right.
Reminding me of who I killed inside my dream. I hate this car that I'm driving. There's no hiding for me. I'm forced
Okay,
to deal
I'm
with
seeing
what
it
I
now.
feel. There is no distraction to mask what is real. I could pull the steering wheel.
Yikes.
I have these thoughts
Dang,
so often
dude.
I ought to replace that slot with what I once bought. Cause somebody stole my car radio and now I just sit in silence.
So here's the iconic of him shaving his head in the music video.
Whoa.
I'm not sure what it means, other than I guess it's just depicting mental health. Just kind
Yeah, well, you think about like something that a lot of people like used to meme all the time was yeah, go ahead and pause it. Something that a lot of people used to meme a lot was like Britney Spears shaving her head, and like that was when it's just a different world then, but it was when people would really make fun of people's mental health and stuff. That stuff would never fly today.
No.
But now we know 20 years later that it was because she was really having a episode of a mental break, and that may be very well what he's doing is just depicting that kind of thing.
I'm not sure. I guess that I've not been in that mental state, but I would assume that shaving a hair kind of is like just somehow changing something about you. Like it's changing. I'm changing something of who I am. Like I
Right.
can't handle who I am, so
Right,
I'm going
right.
to change it. But
Man,
Here we go.
All right, yeah. Cue it back up. I love this track.
Dude, it's so
I
lit
ponder
when
if
they play this
something
live.
terrifying,
You'll
this
see.
time there's no sound to hide behind. I find over the course of our human existence, one thing consists of consistence, and it's that we're all battling fear. Oh dear, I don't know if we know why we're here. Oh my, too deep, please stop thinking. I liked it better when my car had sound. There are things we can do, but from the
His
things that
rhyme
work,
scheme
there
is
are only
incredible.
two, and from the two that we choose to do, peace will win and fear will lose. There's faith and there's sleep. We need to pick one, please, because faith is to be awake, and to be awake is for us to think.
Dang.
For us to think is to be alive, and I will try with every rhyme to come across like I am dying to let you know you need to try to think.
All
I
right,
have these
so
thoughts,
we can't pass that one up. We can't pass that up.
What the heck,
So
bro?
there's faith and there's sleep.
Yes. Hold on. I'm going to read that. There's faith and there's sleep. And we need to, hold on, what do you say? There's faith and there's sleep. We need to pick one because faith is to be awake, and to be awake is for us to think. And for us to think is to be alive. And I will try with every rhyme to come across like I am dying to let you know what you need to try to think.
Dying to let you know you need to try to think. So you need to try to be alive.
Oh, to let you know you need to, I can't
Right.
read.
So if thinking is to be, if to think is to be alive, then I will try with every rhyme to tell you need to think, you need to be alive.
Right. You
Like,
need to.
don't stop thinking. Like, so basically, it's a big, like, the wordplay here
It's
is so
wild,
good.
dude.
It's so good.
I cannot believe, like, all right, so we just hyped up the fact recently or just a few minutes ago when we went over the song that we just went through, and Addict with a Pen, talking about how I was introduced at a mature point in their career
Right.
or whatever. But you look at this kind of stuff that they're making, and I'm like, man, yeah, I think the music that they make now
Right.
collectively is better, but songs like this
Yes.
are like diamonds in the rough, bro. Like, I'm seeing why so many
Right.
people latched
So
onto
it's
them.
the production now is out of this world.
Oh,
they're,
it's
they're
ridiculous.
in a great place. But if you go back to their early discography, you see why the fan base is so rabid. Because these songs have meaning. Like, they have so much meaning to the people who listen to them and enjoy their music. And so
It all makes sense now.
Yeah.
It all makes sense.
right. Yeah, there's a reason why that we are so, like, they call them the clique, the skeleton clique. Like, there's a reason that exists.
Man.
So here we go. Let's finish this one up because this
do
song it gets even better. Surprisingly.
No
Yeah.
way. All right.
And I yacht to replace that slot with what I once bought, cause somebody stole my car radio, and now I just sit in silence.
I can tell you're really enjoying
I
listening
love
to
the
that,
end of
dude.
this song, man. Like I said, this song is their best live performance.
Dude. I cannot wait to see them live one day.
Oh yeah,
Woo!
we're gonna stand in the pit. We're gonna go all the way down. So this is actually filmed at one of their shows.
They got everybody to stand stiff.
They involved their crowd in the music video, which is so cool.
What the heck? So this is the ski mask era still,
Yep.
except for Josh. He probably got too hot, just to be honest. Ooh.
Oh yeah.
Dude, that would be so
Drop
fire.
is so, dude.
That would be so cool live. Oh, man. Dude, their performances look so
Yeah, man.
fun. Dang.
It's the best live show I've ever seen.
Man.
Yeah, this part when you're in the room.
And now I just sit in silence.
Whoa, what was that?
And now I just sit in silence. And now I just sit. And now I just sit in silence. And now I just sit in silence. And now I just sit in silence. And now I just sit.
I have got to hear this live.
Oh man, it's one of the pinnacles of the show.
I find her of something great. My lungs will fill and then deflate.
No other
They fill
artist
with
is making
fire,
music
exhale
like this,
desire.
though.
I
It's-
know
No,
it's
not
tired,
even
my time
now.
today.
Like, no,
I have
they're
these
not.
thoughts
So
often I
unique.
got to replace that slot with what I once bought. Cause somebody stole my car radio and now I just sit in silence.
Yeah, man.
And he falls back. Here's the thing, man. The whole premise of that chorus, I guess you would call that the chorus. I have these thoughts so often I ought to replace the slot with what I once bought because somebody stole my car radio and now I just sit in silence. But it's everything but silence. It
Right.
may be silence exteriorly, but interiorly,
Yeah, right.
the scream, bro.
So
Gosh.
it's silence, but that's why he says sometimes silence is violence, or not silence is violence. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what he says.
Sometimes quiet is violence.
Quiet
yeah.
is violence. Yeah,
Right,
yeah,
right. And so to replace that, okay. So do you remember the Trench trilogy? We had the Levitate, the song
Yes.
where he like breathes fire.
Yes.
So there's one point in that song where he goes, "I got back what I once bought back in that slot. I don't need to replace. This culture is a culture of." And so when that line comes on, all of the OG fans are like, "He got his car radio back." Like that's a because he goes, "We are not just graffiti on a passing train. I got back what I once lost in that spot. I don't need to replace." Yeah, and so
I need you to see my face right now. Yeah. Bro,
yeah,
I am...
so it's a callback to this song.
I feel like you're just like crocheting this whole
It's a
thing
story,
like
man.
together, man. I am just mesmerized by the creativity. If you would have told me last summer when you sat me down to listen to that album for the first time that we would be at this point, I would be this much in love with 21 Pilots and that all of these things would be connecting back.
Right.
I don't know. I'm lost for words. Dude.
Yeah, man, it's so cool. It's so cool.
Gosh, man.
Yeah. So you
my
tuned into a
gosh.
podcast to hear us like flubber around talk about this. It's so, man, 21 Pilots in my life, they dude, I really latched onto them around this time. I got into them around Blurry Face, but it was the Vessel album that got me into them.
Man.
And I love just how they combine the hip hop, they combine rock. Like the guy's got some screamo vocals. Like,
Dude has got like every vocal you can think
right,
of.
and the range is really there. And so,
Well, the fact that he can do crap like this and then turn around and do the Chicago sessions,
right,
and you're like, I'm sorry, what? You know, like the
Brooklyn, like
the Brooklyn sessions.
Well,
Yeah,
I
I'm
mean,
sure
he's Brooklyn, Mexico,
whatever.
Berlin, he does all
Yeah.
these different sessions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm blown away. But to get into these lyrics and talk about where he's at mentally in this,
Yeah.
to kind of hone back in on that idea of what we've been talking about. What are your thoughts on what he's trying to communicate here?
So here, I always, when I listen to the song, I would think about the fact that he's basically honing in that we distract ourselves from what is real. So as he says it here in the beginning, he says, "I have these thoughts so often I ought." Oh wait, no, that's not it. Ooh, there it is. Yeah, and it's right in the first rap verse or so. He says, "I hate this car that I'm driving. There's no hiding from me. I'm forced to deal with what I feel. There is no distraction to mask what is real." And so this is a theme that you see throughout Tyler's writing, is trying to distract from thoughts that are going on inside.
Man.
And, I don't want to get, I guess I'll share a little bit of my wife's own story here. And she constantly tells me about how her thoughts are often so loud. And she's like, I don't know how to describe it other than, like, they're not like voices in my head. It's just my thoughts are so loud. I can't, like, it's overwhelming. The thoughts they're just so loud. And so this is what you're kind of getting a picture of here, is sometimes quiet is violent. And he's just like, he's having to deal with it.
Yeah.
The reality set in with it. So I like how throughout his music, he always has a different, to me, Tyler always has a different take than a lot of the emo scene that I did.
Yeah.
I like when artists are willing to express their depression and they're just willing to just put it out and be honest about it.
Right.
But Tyler has always he's always thought about his depression. So like he doesn't just say, I'm suicidal. He says, I'm trying to distract myself from what is real. And he starts analyzing what's actually going on. He like psychologizes everything. And so that's why I think I appreciate his music even more than a lot of the emo guys, is because he's not just throwing his emotions out. He's actually trying to think about them.
He's internally processing.
Right. And so he's using it as therapy, honestly.
Man.
So some people confuse just spouting off their depression as therapy. That's not what's going on here. He's actually going through therapy as he's writing this.
Yeah.
Like he's more than just telling you what he's feeling. He's trying to figure it out.
And honestly, sounds like he's even trying to heal to some extent. You know, when I was in college, I had a professor one time, when I was in community college. As profound as this may sound, this came from when I was in community college, so just bear with me for a second. But he asked one time, it was my psychology teacher, and he was like, when is the last time you cut off everything in the car? Just talking to the class in general. When was the last time you cut off everything in the car and you rode to work in silence, or you rode to class in silence? He just had a minute to think and to mentally reset. And I remember at the time going, that sounds bizarre to me. Right. And I didn't try it at the time, but like there are times now where I'll just cut the radio off. I'll cut everything off, air and everything, and just drive in silence. And it really does give you time to think. And if you're not in a good space mentally, it can be very terrifying. Right. You know, I released the album 2 years ago, and in that album, it's titled The Journey, and part of that journey is in the year of 2019, I went through a pretty significant depressive episode. An entire season of my life where I wouldn't say that I was inherently suicidal, where I thought about taking my life every day type of thing, but I remember begging God to kill me.
Wow.
I remember asking him in prayer, like, please, because it'll be better than what I'm dealing with right now. This idea of like your thoughts being loud and all this stuff, like there were a lot of things that happened that I'm not going to get into, but I express it pretty loudly on the album. And so to hear, you know, him going through this and being able to work through this. At the time that I was writing that album, I also got professional help. I went to counseling. I was in counseling for 1.5 years and was able to grab onto some tangible things that have helped me walk through that episode and then be on the other side of that now, to where I can look and say, I'm no longer depressed, but I know what it's like to be depressed.
Right.
I may not know what it's like to be suicidal, but I do know what it's like to not want to be here anymore.
Yeah.
And, you know, I really feel Tyler's heart in this, man.
Yeah.
And even going back to Chester's song, like I feel that, in there, and gosh, dude, it's so hard, but it also just reminds me of, you know, the hope that we cling on to cannot be in are the things that we create. Because at the end of the day, like, we're going to like let ourselves down. The things that we are going to create are never going to be good enough. The people that we try to latch on to one day are going to pass away, whether it's by their own doing or by natural causes or whatever. And so, like, you know, for us, from a Christian worldview perspective, that's why I have such strong faith in Jesus Christ, because at the end of the day, everybody in my life has let me down, but he never has.
You're gonna need a hero who's overcome death.
Absolutely.
Right. It's like your hero, like that's the point. You need something that's greater than just a human, right?
Yeah.
You need God incarnate.
Yeah.
To be the hero that carries you across. And I think that's actually probably a good way for us to end this episode. Do you have anything else that you want to close it out with?
I don't, other than, you know, I just want to tell you guys, first of all, thank y'all. If you have made it this far into the podcast, thank you so much, for listening to it and for hanging out with us. Secondly, please never think that we don't want you to be on this channel because you think a different way or you feel a different way than we do. We actually embrace that and we enjoy that please interact with this video. If you have a different worldview, if you think that we're absolutely wrong and you've got another perspective that you want to throw in, comment it. We're not going to kick you off. We're not going to say that, you suck and we want you to leave and stuff like that. We welcome you into the discussion.
As long as you come in with an open mind, we'll treat you. I mean, you can even come in with a closed mind. I don't care.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
The one thing I would like to say in closing is I hope that we have handled. This is a very heavy topic, so I understand probably maybe even you have some disagreements on how we talk about mental health. I just want to clear that out and just say, man, we approached a very difficult topic, and we tried to do it with the most love and compassion that we can. Hopefully we didn't trivialize anybody's experience. That definitely is not the intention.
No, we never want to do that.
No, and so we're just, two guys trying to figure out life and try to... you guys don't know what just happened, but that was...
a huge train just stopped on the tracks right outside our studio. So
shook the ground beneath my feet.
Gosh.
Wow.
Yeah.
Anyway, if you liked this this episode, we're going to be trying to do more podcasts here with the Creative Criticals channel. So go ahead and slap the like button for me.
Do it.
Be very nice of you.
It would be.
And subscribe to the channel.
Please subscribe.
Turn on the notification bell. That way you'll be notified when we put out more excellent content like this.
That's right. And if you would like to, please comment some other songs. If this is a topic that you want us to dive even further into, and you're like, hey, here's some songs that could really lead the discussion, drop them down there. We love reacting to music. Obviously, we're 21 Pilot fans, but we also like reacting to other artists as well. You'll see some of those videos coming on the channel very soon. And
peep our own music.
Please.
I have a band called The Other Worlds. We are a rock band, and Corey here is a rapper.
I am a rapper. Yep. I've got my own stuff. You know what? We're just going to link both of our albums in the comments, and y'all can do as you please with that. But anyway, thank you guys for joining with us during this video. We are the Creative Criticals. My name's Corey.
And I'm Luke.
And we'll see you in the next video.